Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Matt Madness Wrestling Podcast. My name is Ron Pashery, columnist for TJRWrestling.net. I am here with my good friends, Mr. Sexy Punakana, from now until indefinitely, CK and Joe Rottermill, and yes, and Mr. Wednesday Night Live, ALO, Aaron Lloyd, hailing from none other than Milan, Italy, the European champion. How you guys doing? It's good to have you here tonight.
Oh, I'm feeling great. Feeling lovely, yeah.
It's great to be here.
Good. I guess it always is. Before we get started, a couple things. First one being, you may notice if you're watching instead of listening, we have a new belt in the front. I talked a lot of smack about as soon as Sasha won the women's title, I was going to buy it. I thought I had at least another month.
No, nothing.
But she won it on Raw 2 weeks ago. We actually had a sale. Maybe it was in the stars that it had to happen. I found it on sale. Yeah.
You took that statement to the bank.
I did. I took it to the bank. Always good to throw some Sasha Banks puns out there to start the show.
You found the cosmic key.
Yeah. Yeah, so got a good deal on WWE Shop. So here it is. You'll be seeing it every week from here on out.
If you can't see it, it's pretty fancy.
Yeah.
I'm loving it.
Second thing before we get started. I know very early on in our run here, we promoted a promo ALO did on giving us 5-star reviews on iTunes and the whole deal. So basically, we're 7 months into this thing, I think. We are on iTunes. We are on Podbean, Stitcher. You can find our videos on YouTube and Facebook. Our whole goal here is to be the most fan-friendly wrestling podcast on the face of the earth. We want to welcome everybody in. We will take any and all questions. We will take any guest on Matt Madness Unsanctioned. So, if you like our show, if you listen to our show, if you watch our show on iTunes, subscribe, 5-star reviews, follow us on Podbean, subscribe to us on Stitcher, check us out on Facebook. It's the only way to grow the show is if you guys help us. We're going to get you on the show. We're going to let you be involved. You're going to help us, make it a bigger show for everybody.
Help us help you.
Yes,
help
exactly.
I gotta give it to you, Pash. That was excellent.
Thank you. So yes, iTunes, Podbean, Stitcher, Facebook, YouTube, 5-star reviews, and follow and subscribe where applicable. And if you want to be a guest on Matt Madness, hit us up on Facebook. On my email, you could find it on TJR Wrestling, PASC.
I got a fancy new email from Matt Madness.
Yeah, I guess we're going to be releasing those soon. The Matt Madness website.
You're going corporate.
We'll probably be launching soon. We may have a promotional event tied into the launching of the website. But enough business. And now we'll get into the business of the business, as Vince Russo would say. WWE action this week. Raw, second week of 2 live shows. Second week of brand extension. I thought last week's Raw was the best Raw of 2016. I didn't think this week particularly lived up to it, but that was going to be a hard task. ALO, what were your thoughts on Raw this week? Just generally. Good episode, not quite as good. Do you think it equaled last week?
It kept my attention for most of the night. I didn't have a problem with it. Some points it dragged, but that's what happens on a 3-hour show with Raw. But you can't expect them to have all these shows
right
back to back like that.
Yeah, you?
It was a good episode. I mean, could it live up to the first one? No. I mean, that was, like you said, a lot to handle. It's a mouthful, if you will.
Yeah.
But overall, it was a good show. I was entertained thoroughly.
All right, so the top story on Raw right now is the Universal title, which is going to be introduced at SummerSlam. We still haven't officially seen it. They have not presented it. But Seth Rollins going up against Finn Balor at SummerSlam for the rights to be the first ever WWE Universal Champion.
Are we going to refer to them as the Masters of the Universe?
I guess we will. We'll have to. A little He-Man reference for anybody who's not old enough to know. But the first ever NXT Champion, Seth Rollins, going up against the longest reigning NXT Champion in history, Finn Balor. I'm not asking for predictions, but it is an interesting way to go with that title. Based on, I think, everything. They're really hyping up anything that has to do with NXT at this point. I have some thoughts on, because really all Finn did was the promo. That was his introduction. Mm-hmm. I think they made a mistake putting him out there with Seth Rollins that fast.
It was kind of overshine a little bit by Seth Rollins, superior mic skills. Finn's got time to work his way into that, but you could definitely see who was carrying that promo there.
Yeah, I didn't think it did Finn any favors. And now you agree with me. You do agree with me, Alo?
Yeah, I agree, but he has to learn anyway. But I think they did a good job of putting him out there with Seth because Seth carried the promo for the most part, and Finn at the end of the promo he started picking up some steam and going right back at Rollins.
Well, he had the great line at the end, when he said, "You've had everything handed to you," and he said, "I haven't had anything handed to me. I've worked for everything." And he said, "Come SummerSlam, the only thing you're gonna have handed to you is your ass." I thought that was a great line.
It was a great line.
I thought that was a great impression of Finn Balor.
I thought he was right here next to me.
I thought Seth was awesome, though, as always.
Yeah.
I love that he said, everything you've done, I did it first and I did it better.
Yeah.
Like the Ghostbusters movie, I'm the OG Bill Murray, you're Melissa McCarthy. I thought that was great. Called out the Atlanta Braves, and the Atlanta fans had to pretend for 30 seconds like they care about their sports teams.
And then Tomahawk Chop, which you don't even see the games anymore.
Which they couldn't even really get going.
Most people were like, what is this?
Yeah, if you weren't watching the Braves in the 90s when they made the World Series every year, you might not have known what the Tomahawk Chop was.
I hated Tomahawk Chop. I always did.
Yeah. I can tell you have something you want to say.
Oh, no, I'm waiting for y'all guys to finish.
Oh, that was kind of really all I had. I thought, I was ashamed that Finn, I felt like he got overshadowed a little bit. You're right, he did pick up steam by the end of it, but it just, to me, it was like one guy looked up here and the other guy looked down here.
That's the way it kind of should be, though, considering that Seth Rollins has been up in the main card for a while. Finn's just coming up, and he's sort of just exploding. I mean, again, that probably wasn't the way they wanted. They didn't want to give some heat to this, but I mean, I expect it to be like that.
Yeah, I mean, Alo, the point you made was right, that he does have to kind of get out there and do that. I've been saying that for a long time. You got to kind of throw these guys to the fire and let them develop. It's the only way to get better. And I guess we will see. There's still some time before SummerSlam for him to kind of put himself over a little more. I think even Mick Foley said that on another podcast this week. Go ahead, I'm done.
Oh, okay. Well, I love the promo. Seth just, in a way, he kind of put Balor over, but then he was like, well, I did that too, Yeah. But the things Finn did do are big things, He was the longest reigning champion in NXT, and he did beat Roman Reigns in his first night on the roster. So technically, Rollins actually kind of put that over a bit, and Rollins has to carry this. He carried on the mic because, like you said this about Samoa Joe, he's hardly there. Well, when Finn was NXT champion, you hardly saw Finn Balor either. And he never actually cut promos in the ring against somebody else. And if he's going to be a top guy, he has to be thrown to the fire and be able to cut a promo. And he lived up to that at the end of the promo where he said, I'm going to handle your ass.
You sound like Vince McMahon.
Vince Balor.
Finn Balor.
Some offspring.
Well, that's how, Finn, he has to learn how to do this because they're positioned him to be a top guy. So he's going to be thrown to the fire with these top guys, and he's with the top heel in the company right now. And I like how Seth tried to test Finn when the promo at the end of the promo, trying to get a hit on him. Balor took him out because that also puts Balor over too. Just getting any little off, basically blocking anything Seth Rollins throws at him.
Yeah. Seth also had a match with Sami Zayn. He said he had a point to prove to Finn against Sami. I guess about as good of a match as you would expect from these two guys.
Yeah, it was a really good match.
Good match.
Kept Seth Rollins, as the main guy on the roster, and plus it gave Sami Zayn a lot of exposure too, and a solid match against the top heel. Yeah,
and I thought it made sense that to have Seth just win. When he was the champion, how many times did he lose these matches on Raw? I think it was 13 weeks in a row he lost a match on Raw.
Yeah, it's a ryback.
Yeah, it's so. I liked what they did. I thought it made sense. I do want to mention how enjoyable Stephanie McMahon and Mick Foley are to watch together backstage. I think that Mick is perfect alongside her. I think he makes her more
bounce off her a little bit.
Yeah, I think he made a match for somebody, and she was like, "Oh, I'm really impressed with that."
I think it was Mark Henry or
I think it was the Cesaro Sheamus one because he kind of took control of that whole situation. Before we move on to the next thing, we have a question from good friend of the show, Russ D'Agostino. Oh no, this is actually from Ronald Bagfoot Lloyd. Bagfoot is not a wrestling reference; it is a comedy reference to a local comedy troupe. He is back. And was he on suspension?
I don't know where he's been.
We have no knowledge of his whereabouts
Not at all.
the last few
He
weeks.
Disappeared.
But he wants to bring up the fact that on a recent Ric Flair podcast, he suggested Finn Balor will never main event WrestleMania. Correct me if I'm wrong, but Nate never main evented either. Vince sometimes suggests co-main events. I'm from the CM Punk camp. If it's not last, it's not the main event. So the question is, do you give credit to a co-main event for main eventing or headlining WrestleMania?
No. It has to be the main event, the main attraction. Because, especially with these big events like WrestleMania, SummerSlam, basically, they're like, oh, we have 8 main events. Like, the whole card is basically a main event.
A whole night of main events.
You're in the main event. You're in the main event. Everybody's in the main event. That's,
start to finish main events.
That's how they like to portray things. Can I blame them for the superstars they have in these matches? No. But in reality, the main event is the main attraction, whether it's for the world title or not.
What do you think? You give credit for a co-main event, or
first? Let me just clarify. I think he's wrong, Flair, in general, that he said Finn's never in a main event. I mean, he's shot out of the gate as it is to almost a main event status. I find it hard to believe.
Wait, he's arguably main eventing SummerSlam in his first.
I find it hard to believe that he'll never main event a WrestleMania. That being said, I mean, I don't mind the whole co-main event thing. I mean, there's many times at WrestleMania where I'm looking forward more to the Undertaker match than the main event, which is the title match usually. I mean, I guess it all depends on the way they book it and who's fighting. Is the way I feel is what the main event is. I'll watch any other match.
So you're saying the main event can be interpreted personally, what the main event is for you?
Well, I think Joey's saying sometimes the other main events they promote are better than the actual main event.
Yeah, I think it's pretty often.
Yes, it is pretty often.
And I consider that the main event in my view.
Yeah, I feel like it's not often at all that I'm looking forward to the last match most. Like we said, at Battleground, our night was made after the first match. So that was the first main event of the evening.
Pretty lofty expectations then, huh?
Yeah, I don't give credit for co-main eventing. I mean, it's a good spot to be in if you're the second to last match at WrestleMania, but you have not main evented WrestleMania if you are not in the last match of the night. Next thing we got, Sasha and Enzo against Charlotte and Y2J, the first mixed tag match of the new era. A very long promo to start the show.
Yeah. I thought you liked Sasha throwing some shade.
It was so good. It was so good. I was shocked to let her say that.
Yeah, but it was entertaining.
It was entertaining. Yeah. The one nitpick I have.
Okay.
Oh no.
There's always at least one nitpick.
They should have just left them out there by themselves. They didn't have to have as entertaining as it was. You didn't have to have Jericho come out there. Even though when Jericho comes out, I said quiet. I just started laughing.
Yeah, it's always good. He's always good, but I agree. That's one of the things I had down. There was no need. You have these two women who are arguably maybe the two best women you have ever had and will have for the foreseeable future. One of them just won the title off of the other one. They're promoting a program now that's going to lead into SummerSlam. Did you really need to throw in two guys who have nothing to do with either one of them?
Well, it was setting up the co-main tag match. Plus, also setting up Enzo and Cass versus Kevin Owens and Jericho.
I understand what
they have to do it during.
Yeah, I understand the mechanics of what they did. I just think leave them out there to tell their own story. And also, it ends up with Sasha being pinned. The first time she's out there as the champion, she gets pinned on Raw. Mm-hmm. First time I believe she's been pinned.
No, second time.
Second time, when was the first? Oh, it was
a couple weeks ago in that handicap match.
Why does somebody who the fans love win a title and then immediately start getting pinned on Raw? It's not the first time that's happened. To me, there's no logic behind that. I can see them losing, but I just don't see why. Why doesn't Enzo take the pin? Mm-hmm. I just don't understand it.
Yeah, but I just wish they'd left them out there by themselves because they made the match official. So let them build that up. I was like, okay, they have confidence in these women to put them out there first thing on Raw. So I was shocked when that happened. But then you have Enzo and Jericho come out there. It's like, okay, what do they have to do with anything? I never seen Jericho with Charlotte. I never seen Enzo with Sasha. So what are they? I know they're building towards their own thing, but they didn't have to be out there. Have more confidence in them and let them do what they did. Because legitimately, this is probably maybe the second women's blood feud we're going to have in WWE history because there's only really been one. That's Trish and Lita. So let them go out there and be great. We know what they can do. We saw it last week. Even last week, they promoted that as the main event. Like, it wasn't the main event, but it's like, oh, this match was so awesome. This was the main event.
Yeah, Cole kept saying we already had a main event.
Yeah, and you have Finn and Roman going out there last. So they promoted them to a high level, but you should keep it that way. Leave them out there by themselves.
Yeah. So getting to the match.
But still, in this segment, we're still we liked Charlotte, coming out talking to Sasha, saying, you're nothing but a one night stand.
Yeah.
Sasha comes back and says, well, if it wasn't for Ric Flair, who's the one night stands, would you be relevant?
Yeah.
How did you feel about the Enzo portion of the coming in?
I thought it was entertaining. I thought it was funny. It made me laugh. It probably went on a little too long. I don't think they needed to do 22 minutes of it, but it was funny.
How you doing?
It was funny. It was entertaining. I just felt like there's no need to put those two guys out there with those two girls.
How about Foley's leopard shirt?
It was awesome. I'm glad that you brought that up because that needed to be mentioned.
It did. I was like, what the hell's he doing?
I don't know if they mentioned it on commentary or not.
I don't think so.
I feel like they should have.
But we need to talk about the GOAT of this segment, Kevin Owens. So good.
Yeah, on commentary.
And
Just felt like it.
I like he had a reason that he was out there. It wasn't even about Enzo. It was about Sasha because she's talking about Brooklyn. She's talking about they came to see her at Brooklyn. They came to see Kevin Owens and Finn Balor at Brooklyn. So he had a reason to be out there.
Well, he's still bitter that the crowd liked Sasha's match more than his.
Yeah, he took it so offensive.
Yeah,
but to him, that's not how it works.
No. In his mind, that is the way it went. Ultimately, like we said, Sasha takes the pin from Charlotte. Jericho hits a code breaker on Enzo, and then Cass comes out to save the day.
Oh, he's a dangerous one.
Yeah.
Yeah, watch out for him. He's the dangerous one.
And Jericho later on in the night says that he needs somebody to watch his back.
Well, he had somebody.
Yeah, Jim and Marvin Luter.
Jim and Marvin Luter.
And then Kevin Owens comes out and officially offers his services to watch Jericho's
cute,
back.
Jericho, cute.
It was, and I mean so this will be interesting.
I was so excited.
Jericho and Owens against Enzo and Cass. This will be a lot of fun.
Could be a lot of good mic work too.
All four guys can talk. It'll be a good match when it happens. And I'm assuming, I don't know if this will be on SummerSlam or if this is just going to be a couple week little thing, but I look forward to that happening.
I have a feeling it's going to be a SummerSlam match.
Do you think so?
I found it entertaining that Enzo even took a beating, took all the heat, even with a woman as his tag team partner.
Yeah. Oh, the other thing I noticed, I don't think Sasha and Enzo ever tagged.
No.
I didn't pay any attention.
They didn't. It was like every time there was a tag, either Charlotte would tag Jericho or the other way around, but when either one from Sasha or Enzo was crawling to the corner, the other one was just coming in without ever being tagged.
Mental tags.
I guess.
Well, mixed tags, when a woman gets tagged in, both women are legal.
So I guess that's what it is then. Yeah. But I noticed there was never a time that those two tagged each other.
Maybe a little loophole in there.
I guess.
Owens is like, when Sasha did her double knees, Owens was like, oh, it's not the Indies.
Yeah, that was great. He really is the best.
He is.
Can he replace David Otunga on SmackDown?
I'll get to that.
You don't like the Harvard lawyer?
Joey.
I hate him.
I'll yell later.
Mark Henry lobbies to the GM and the commissioner for a U.S. title shot because he's going to be representing WWE at the Rio Olympics. He gets his match against Rusev and ends up getting crushed, as most do.
He wanted a new hall in the Hall of Pain. He wanted a new wing.
Yeah, did not get it.
No, yeah, it was still under construction.
He was on the receiving end of the Hall of Pain.
For sure.
But that match concludes, and of all people to come out and defend the United States of America as Rusev was trashing the United States, Roman Reigns.
Let's push him to the mid-card.
Wearing a black and red vest, new colors.
And a very hardy beard.
Very hardy beard, almost as good as Alo's.
Uh-huh.
I don't know.
Some women at home got into Pash mode.
So Roman comes out, beats down Rusev. I thought it was interesting. I did not see it coming at all. I don't know who did. See it coming.
I didn't see it coming, but I'm kind of glad it happened. I think he needs a mid-card push right now.
Well, I think we all were theorizing he was probably eventually going to end up turning heel. To me, this looks like they're just like, okay, we'll have you fight for a mid-card title, and you can play the John Cena American Hero role. So, to me, he's not turning heel anytime soon after this.
Nah,
but
I don't mind putting him up against Ruru, though.
Thank you. But if he, in fact, is going to be the U.S. champion, I like that because he gets a chance to kind of build his way back into the main event picture.
I have a lot to say about this.
Is this a punishment?
Good or bad?
It's more. It's not even a good or bad. It's just a statement about this. This is a question from the Babyface Round Low, by the way. All right. This is the perfect way to get cheap pops for Roman because Rusev is the hated Bulgarian with the U.S. title.
Bringing the American.
Rusev is the heel with the U.S. title, so it's an easy way to get Roman cheered, being the so-called American in the situation. I had no idea who they were going to put Roman with. I was kind of thinking Jericho because he wasn't doing anything at the time. That's like maybe he could put over Kevin Owens or put over Sami Zayn in the process. But when I saw him come up with Rusev, I was like, okay, Rusev is probably the perfect guy because Rusev is the U.S. champion. When he first debuted, he was portrayed as dominant. In the fact that Roman still is so-called getting dropped down and he still has that suspension kind of clearing his way. This is the perfect opportunity for Rusev to win. Because Rusev, I always say Bray Wyatt's to drop it to the stars. Rusev is the same way. Because how many times he's lost to Roman Reigns, how many times he loses to Cena. Every time he gets to a top-level match, he always loses.
He lost to Finn Balor last week.
Exactly. Ironic, both the guys lost to Finn Balor.
Yeah.
Are facing each other, ironically. But I think the fans will be okay with this, and I think Roman loses this feud because if he loses this feud, one, it kind of shows his punishment, and it kind of dehumanizes him. He'll get out that Superman mode. It's like, okay, Rusev beating Roman just builds Rusev right up to probably at a higher level than he's ever been.
So that actually is what I said last week when Roman did the interview after the match with Finn. And we both said that we thought there was a chance he could turn heel, he could attack Finn, and instead he just gave the interview, I respect that dude. To me, that was them making him human and taking the Superman away from him. He wasn't Super Roman anymore, he was just Roman. Now this week he's in a feud for a mid-card title. So yeah, I don't know if he's going to win or lose, I have no idea. I wouldn't mind him being the U.S. champion, I think it'd be like a thing for him to do.
I don't think he has to lose.
It'd be a good feud to carry.
I think that would be a good.
I mean, I would love for Rusev if he ends up coming out on top.
I would love for Rusev because no matter what, I know he's going to drop down to the mid card, and I was like, okay, this is a perfect opportunity for him to put over a high mid carder, and Rusev being the U.S. champion, being a hated heel with the U.S. title, is the perfect person to put him with in the situation.
I definitely didn't hear as many boos when he came out to fight.
No, I didn't either.
I didn't either.
What was the actual question? I want to make sure we're actually answering it. I'm not sure if we are.
I think we hit all cylinders for the most part.
We just dance around the question.
No question. All set.
Well, it's the height of election season, so
Does the punishment
Should be good.
Does the punishment fit the crime? What are your thoughts on Roman Reigns being downgraded to the mid card?
Oh yeah, I think it does fit the crime. I think even though his offense wasn't really that egregious, you're put in that position, like you're the made guy, the top guy, they're counting on you, and you get yourself suspended. You can't do that. So
punishment or not, I think it's the best thing for Roman Reigns right now.
That's the other part of it. It is a punishment, but it's probably the best thing for him anyway.
Yeah, and I don't see how you could really hate Roman Reigns, honestly. The guy's awesome.
He's good.
Yeah, he's good.
He's a phenomenal athlete, like you always say. I don't know how you really can hate Roman Reigns, but I think going down a pack and putting somebody over would do him some good. I do think they're leaving a lot of money on the table with him as a heel because I think he'll be an excellent heel, and people naturally start to cheer him when they start to like him.
Yeah. So you think he's awesome? If he was matched up against Shawn Michaels in a tournament, do you think
No.
Roman would?
Never.
No, never. Not as good as HBK. No.
Yeah, I just had to take a shot at myself there.
He could put as much red in his clothing as he wanted.
When HBK wrestles the match of his life in Wranglers, we'll talk.
Comes out wearing the chaps.
Oh, I would. You think we ever see Roman in chaps?
Yeah.
Or do you think Roman wears the SWAT outfit his whole career?
I hope not, because that's another thing. Change everything about Roman. Change it. Like, give him a new look. Because I can honestly see him losing to Rusev, and then that could be a way to turn him heel. Like, probably cost Finn Balor the Universal title. Because Finn's the reason you're not in the Universal title match. You hate Seth Rollins so much, but Finn's the reason you're not in the match. And just turn on the fans. You guys booed me. You guys booed me when I got suspended. You guys booed me against Rusev. Just turn him. That's another perfect opportunity to turn him heel.
Maybe cut his hair a little bit, curl his beard up, throw him with the vaudevilles.
Right. Did you hear?
That'd be one hell of a punishment if they made him a vaudevillain.
But did you happen to hear Joey Styles on Facebook Live or read about it?
No.
About they asked why does Vince push Roman as the top guy? And they said, well, Roman, and Joey Styles answered, I'm paraphrasing a bit, but he just mentioned that Roman Reigns is like he has the perfect look. The parents and their moms, they'll take their children to go see this guy. He has the perfect look, and Vince likes the perfect look in a superstar.
Yeah, I think that's why I think the question last week was, is this the end of him as a top babyface? It's definitely not. It's just going to be a little while before he truly is.
It's a reset of moves.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, and that's why it's like I'm not sure if everyone's heard him heel, but there is so much money on the table with it as a heel.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm sure everybody would cheer him as a heel. That's what they want.
Mm-hmm.
He has every reason to be heel.
Well, unless your name's the Shovel, you eventually turn heel in one form or fashion.
Yeah, the one guy who will never be the heel. I don't think we'll ever see it.
We'll get to that.
Yeah, the New Day and Gallows and Anderson, Big E and Kofi go up against Gallows and Anderson. Big E got a sneaky win and got his family jewels smashed into the ring post, and another beatdown by Gallows and Anderson.
I mean, we can't even skip past the odd man out, though. They're picking fruit to pick who the odd man out is. Xavier Woods walks away with the banana.
Yeah, so somebody said on Reddit, somebody was like challenging wrestlers to try to work a banana into a segment. And I guess the New Day were the ones who accepted the challenge and succeeded.
The Young Bucks?
They figured
I have no idea.
I could have sworn the Young Bucks were doing that. With,
I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. I just, when it happened, I was like, is that some kind of pop culture reference I'm too old to get? Had no idea.
You're never too old, Ron.
Thank you.
You're a lovely man.
Thank you.
The beautiful facial hair.
As good as Roman Reigns' beard?
It's getting there.
All right,
It's getting there. I'm rubbing my face in it right now. It might be inappropriate for radio. So.
It might. Well, for radio, it's probably okay. For video, maybe not.
For video, no. It'll be good.
So we think that Gallows and Anderson and the New Day are probably going to face off at SummerSlam at this point.
Which is good and well, but I thought, again, they made the club look weak with a quick match like that.
How did he get rolled? Doing too sweet? Is that what they did?
Yeah, they were too sweeting over the rope.
The match was over.
It's too short of a match. It wasn't enough action to it, and it was a quick roll-up. I mean, again, they jumped them afterwards, but that doesn't... They need more. They need more sustenance.
Well, I'm interested to see how they play Big E's so-called injury because the thing is they want a 2-on-2. So now if Big E's supposedly hurt, now they get that 2-on-2. They're working with Woods and Kofi. That Woods is the smaller of the two. So maybe like I understand they lost, but maybe they could be like, okay, we'll put the titles on the line. We just want a piece of you guys, and that's how Gallows and Anderson take the titles off the New Day.
So you think you think Gallows and Anderson will be the tag champions coming out of SummerSlam?
Yeah.
You think the same thing or no?
Yeah.
Because like they need those belts. After you split him and them up from AJ, they need the belts. Because if they don't have the titles, what are they going to do?
No, do we see the club at all coming in AJ's aid in SummerSlam?
I mean, I wouldn't be surprised. It's a perfect opportunity to do it where everybody's there. You know, they don't have to cross over shows. Yeah, everybody's there. I would like to see it. I think it'd be cool. And because didn't AJ even say like this isn't the end of the club? We're just gonna.
Well, he did, and he also made reference to the club. I don't want to jump shows, but we're gonna get into that later. But AJ made reference to that. He's like, just me and you, no club.
Yeah,
talking to Cena.
I could see them playing a part in his match, but I agree though that I do think that putting the tag titles on them would do them a huge service. I think they need it.
They need it way more than New Day does. New Day's over.
New Day doesn't need it anymore. It's a year, just about a year.
Yeah, it'll be a year at SummerSlam, so it's full circle. A lot of things going full circle the last few weeks.
Yep.
Cesaro and Sheamus both went to the authority figures last night saying that they were dissatisfied with their position on Raw, and I liked that because this is one of the big things. Everybody was like, oh, why was Cesaro drafted so late? Why was Cesaro drafted so late?
They explained it.
They actually said why. Mick Foley made a reference to, we saw your medical records, the same ones Shane McMahon had access to. That's why. I don't know, but I like it. I like that they're giving you...
It gives relevance to Cesaro. You're not looking at him as a late draft pick. There's actual reasons why he went late.
Did Mel Kiper give him that?
I think so. Well, I mean, he's got the tape on all the time. You can see it. They play up the shoulder injury all the time, so I think it makes sense to make it a full part of the story. And then he tells Sheamus, your head hasn't been in the game since you cashed in against Roman Reigns, which is true. He has not been the same since then.
Big jar.
He cashed in?
Yeah, for sure.
It was a while ago.
You almost can't even see him during his entrance anymore because of that white light.
Yeah,
See him.
he blends right in.
You just see this floating orange mohawk. It's like it's sailing on the ship.
I liked that they did that, though. I liked that they gave explanations. They gave real reasons. I liked that they gave a little more, another layer to Cesaro's injury story. And I liked that Cesaro won the match.
Yeah, he deserves it.
Earned a future title shot. Do you think that means a world title shot or any title?
What kind of
I wish they told me.
Or do you think they purposely kept it vague so they could just say, okay, we'll throw you in a U.S. title match?
Yeah, I think they purposely kept it vague for that reason.
And I liked that they got into a brawl during commercial break. I liked that they came back and they were already like separated. I don't know. Usually I hate when they go to commercial during a match. But I think I liked that the idea that people there actually got to see that happen, and it was actually part of the show that sort of made it onto the air. Would you like to see Cesaro? What title would you like to see Cesaro fight for?
Give him something. Anything. Please.
Do you think they have anything lined up for him for SummerSlam, or do you think he's an odd man out?
I don't know, because that SummerSlam card is kind of ready. Was it 6-7 matches already confirmed?
It's going to be stacked.
Yeah, I know it's a 4-hour show. So I have no idea how many more matches they're going to have.
That's a long show.
Yeah.
It is. We want to sit there in those tight-ass seats.
Yeah. Yeah, it's going to be a long night. Brock Lesnar makes his long-awaited return. What do you got?
Beep, beep, beep. Back up. Beep.
You forgot about Heafy Baby and Ginger Mahal.
Oh, I did.
Oh, yeah. We got.
Did you want to talk about that? Heafy Baby trying to get onto Raw. Hottest free agent, baby! And he takes the loss to Jinder Mahal.
The two-man band. They'll never turn on me.
Yeah, he turned on him immediately.
Well, per Eve Marie, it's Ginger Mahal.
Ginger Mahal.
I don't know if you caught that on Twitter.
I didn't.
So there was, when the first season told Divas, they tried, you know how they usually work the women as announcers, and she got to call out 3MB, and she forgot Drew McIntyre's name, and she said Ginger instead of Jinder.
Oh, Eva. So good at everything you do.
We'll get to her later. It's so good. We'll get to her later.
So, yeah, Heath Slater still not under contract. I believe, he has a match next week to try to earn a contract? Oh, that's right. Well, that's on the other show. I guess I shouldn't have talked about that yet. But I saw a report today that he may be working in Evolve.
I did see that, too.
So, I don't know if that means anything, but...
Well, I know they have
they have a working relationship with them.
Yeah, he's probably not under contract, but he has enough.
Yeah. But Brock Lesnar makes his long way to return, as does Paul Heyman. Paul Heyman giving a very Paul Heyman promo, getting the crowd whipped up into a frenzy. Trashing Randy Orton, you're not man enough to RKO my client.
You'll never RKO my client.
And just when he said that, here comes the legitimate RKO out of nowhere.
Out of nowhere.
The cross-brand RKO.
I didn't see that coming at all.
It's out of nowhere.
So you weren't supposed to. So I thought it might, but then I was like, they're not going to have them cross, because I think we talked about this last week or the week before. How are you going to push this feud with the guys on separate shows? So common sense wise, it makes sense that they did it, but I don't think anybody necessarily expected it, which is why it worked as well as it did.
I like what they're doing so far to push this.
He jumps over the barricade, he runs up into the crowd and does his little stance as everybody's taking selfies with him. I thought it was an awesome end to the show.
It was. I like the continuity, knowing that he's not supposed to be there.
Right.
I love that Stephanie and Mick came right out, and the security chased him right after the RKO.
I love that he knew, I have to get out of here.
Yeah.
I thought it was also, you talked the last time the three of us were here, how Randy Orton hasn't been relevant since 2013 or whatever the year you said. Automatically, that was the most I've cared about Randy Orton ever.
Yeah.
After that, I thought that was awesome. Great close to the show. Got a lot of attention on him, and then that actually leads us into SmackDown. I guess we'll very rarely have these smooth segues between shows.
Excellent transition.
But everybody knew that Brock Lesnar was none too happy about taking the RKO. Show opens with Randy being scolded by Shane McMahon.
That was perfect.
I love that Daniel Bryan was smiling the whole time because he liked it. And I also enjoyed that Shane McMahon ultimately said it was awesome, though.
Yeah.
You put this whole thing in jeopardy, but it was kind of awesome.
Great.
And then they had a team of security trying to watch out for Brock. During Orton's match with Fandango, Brock makes his way in, hits an F5, returns the favor. Then he ultimately, leaves with Paul Heyman.
Some good security guard out there. Just watch Brock walk into the ring.
I find it hilarious how, really, those security guards are going to stop Brock Lesnar.
I know.
Should at least gotten his way and had Brock just run
The whole
over.
locker room couldn't stop Brock Lesnar in that pull apart with The Undertaker.
Exactly.
That's 2 great segments on the show. I'm already 10 times more interested in this match than I thought I would
10
be.
times?
10 times, 20 times.
20 times. Perfect 20.
Do you feel the same way?
Oh, yeah. Because I haven't cared for Randy Orton since 2007.
And now you do?
Yeah, a little bit.
I know you always did.
Yeah, I've been a fan of Randy Orton, but definitely I like the way they're building the match. Because like you said, it was going to be 2 different brands. How would they do this? Why would we care about Orton versus Lesnar? They're giving us a reason now.
Yeah, and I think I saw some people on Twitter and Facebook, took 1 week for somebody to cross over. It's not really, they're not really breaking the boundaries of the shows. They just happen to make this match for SummerSlam.
Yeah, it's interpromotional.
And they kind of have to. It makes sense that they did it. I liked that they did it because I didn't think they were going to. And I kind of hope they keep doing it right up until SummerSlam. And then don't do it again for a while.
Yeah, give it a rest.
Yeah, but I thoroughly enjoyed that. I thought it was awesome. I thought it was probably my favorite part of Raw. And not my favorite part of SmackDown, I don't think. But we had Dean addressing...
I got something to say before
okay.
we touch SmackDown. Get David Otunga off my television! He is so bad.
He's a well-educated man.
It's a shame.
I want to disown him from my family. He is terrible. Quoting DJ Khaled the whole night. Yeah, Major Key. Oh, Bret Hart never jumped nobody from behind. Where have you been? He jumped Austin and Sting over all the time.
Yeah. And he's got that nerdy voice that bothers me.
Get him off my... I appreciate Byron so much.
I was going to say, he makes Byron Saxton look good.
He makes Byron look like JR.
It's
Honestly, I'm like, God, I can't take it.
That's a lot to say.
Maybe that's why they did it, just to get Byron Saxton
That's a real
over.
slobber knocker.
He's awful, and it's a shame that we kind of became almost immune to the bad WWE commentary. Like it was an expected level, and we just kind of got used to it and accepted it. And they managed to find somebody who makes it worse. Like he is awful.
I didn't know you could find worse than Byron, but they did.
And they tried.
Russ D'Agostino, friend of the show, is trying to start a hashtag anyone but Otunga.
I'm going to start it. I'm going to help him.
I think they'd be better served to just have like a rotating, superstar of the week be the third man on commentary. Or
The Miz.
Yeah, that'd be fine. You could just, anybody every week, just have a new superstar on commentary would be better than that. Or they could take the approach that, Raw was the 3-hour show, SmackDown was a 2-hour show. We get 3 for every 2. So how about they get 3 commentators and SmackDown just has 2?
I'll be fine with that because he doesn't even talk. Otunga barely speaks, but when he does, it's horrible.
When he does, yeah, he brings the whole thing crashing down. I've talked as much about David Otunga as I want to.
Yeah. Anyone but Otunga. Let's move on.
Should that be our new curse word?
Yeah, we have it in Otunga jar.
There wouldn't be no money in that.
Yeah, I think everybody wants to just not talk about him.
Exactly.
We taking money out.
yeah, we get money.
Let's get to the real main event here.
Well, Dean Ambrose addresses the WWE Universe and his number one contender, Dolph Ziggler. Dolph Ziggler comes out to have a face-to-face with Dean Ambrose. And Dean talked about how he's looking to cement his legacy, prove to everybody he's no one-hit wonder.
He likes the view from the top.
Yes. And the Kingpin, as Morrow likes to call him, Dolph tries to say, we're similar, you and me. And
he shoots that down.
Dean says, no, we're not. You like to complain about all, I'm fighting for everything I've got, and you just complain about everything you don't have.
What he says is you like to show off.
He said, you're all show, I'm all go.
Yeah.
And Dolph wanted to say, I want to tell you exactly who I am. We're not on the same playing field. You came in with the Shield. I came in as a male cheerleader. I love that he brought that up.
I did too.
Because it's very true.
Yeah.
And Dean talked about, you're worried about all the wrong things. And he ultimately said, "This is who I am. I'm the guy who fights for everything. I'm the guy who never backs down. I'm the guy who's been here for 7 years, killing myself to get these opportunities. And I'm the guy who's going to beat you at SummerSlam, basically, and take your title." And Dean says none of that's going to happen because, you don't have it in you, basically, to follow through with anything you're saying. I honestly think that, one, that was the best I've seen Dolph in a non-backstage segment.
I tell you all the time.
All the stuff I've
on
liked
WWE.com.
All the stuff I've seen has been off of the shows. It's either a backstage segment or something for the website. But this actually, based on his whole story the whole night, because the whole story for him was the whole nobody believes in me.
Yeah, no one believes me. No one wants me to be in this match. No one thinks I fit here.
I have two problems with this whole thing. And one is it makes me feel like they're not going to make Ziggler a heel. It makes me feel like they're just building.
So?
I think they're building him up as the underdog that nobody believes in. That's what it looks like to me. I hope I'm wrong, but that's what it felt like to me last night. The other problem I have is 2 weeks into SmackDown when Bray Wyatt was supposed to be the monster heel of SmackDown, and he's already lost twice.
That's why drop it to the stars, I tell you.
I don't get what the point of that was. Also, why does the ref try to stop you from taking the turnbuckle off if when you slam somebody's face into it, it's legal? I just don't get it. I wrote my article this week on why it's a great time to be a WWE fan because there's a lot of exciting things happening. That does not mean I'm going to be a cheerleader for everything they do. And simple, logical things like that are driving me crazy. I don't know if you felt the same way. I don't know if you feel the same way about this story. What do you think?
You're scaring me.
I'm sorry.
Nah, I liked you gave me a reason to cheer Dolph. After he won, I was confused. I mean, what they did with Finn was cool. Then we have at the other end of it, they have Dolph win in the SmackDown version. I was like, why? Why do we care if Dolph fights Dean? And they sort of gave you a little more to get behind Dolph, which is cool. The match itself, I don't know why they threw Bray, like you said, Bray out there, maybe just to give Dolph that extra push. He's trying to get relevance. He's willing to put up so much just to prove he belongs in the spotlight. I mean, he was pretty much giving up his spot if he lost the match.
Yeah, I understand telling that story that he's putting that spot on the line to prove that he has earned it. I just don't get why Bray had to be the recipient of it. What do you think?
Well,
you fine with it?
I love the promo. Like
the promo was great. I'm not going to take anything away from that.
I think they chose Bray because they had to have someone in there that you felt could beat Dolph.
Well, I think Bray's the biggest name that's not involved with anything. Even though beating Bray Wyatt means nothing.
Yeah, plus you wanted to
Bray
feel
Wyatt
like
does nothing but lose all the time anyway. Well, I pop for the because I am that damn good Triple H reference.
Yeah,
I pop for that.
I knew you would.
Happy belated birthday, Hunter.
That's why I didn't bring it up because I wanted you to get the chance to.
I pop
bring
for
it
that.
up.
There's a couple things on SmackDown I popped for.
Ooh, you've been popping a lot.
But I love Dolph's promo because I like Dean playing the heel role in the situation. I'm not saying he's going to be the heel in the situation, but I like how he cut the promo.
He was the heel.
As a heel, basically putting down Ziggler. And Ziggler shows so much passion. I tell you all the time, Ziggler can cut good promos. He's a comedian. All his good stuff's always on WWE.com. Given the opportunity, he could excel in anything you want him to. So, in this situation, I love how after that promo, he was like all business for the rest of the night.
Even in the match, he came out trying to get a pin. He'd hit the Famouser like 3 seconds into the match. He went for a pin.
He went straight to the ring. He didn't showboat on the way to the ring. He went straight to the ring. Even backstage, both times backstage, which he was telling Shane and Brian, "You don't believe me? You don't believe me? Well, screw you guys." I like that because he's basically out showing that. Okay, I can do it. You guys don't think I'm relevant? You guys think I can handle this? I'll do it. I'll show you. And that's what he did. He showed so much intensity. He even showed an edge. Like in that match against Bray Wyatt, when I think Bray kicked out of the zigzag, and then Ambrose went to the corner. Going to the corner. When's the last time you saw somebody take off the ring post? It's been a long time you've seen that. So Ziggler was going to lengths to prove that he was relevant and on the same level as Dean Ambrose to be in this match. Even after he won the match, he was like to Dean, you got the real me. You got the real me. So this brings a whole new edge in Ziggler. In my opinion, you said this keeps Ziggler babyface. I think this is the perfect way to turn him heel because even though the fans love him and stuff, Dean is still the babyface in the situation, and Ziggler's like easily turn and say, "Management don't believe in me. You fans don't believe, and you fans never believed in me." It's a perfect way to turn somebody heel.
I think it is a good way to turn somebody heel. It just feels to me like they're not going to. Maybe I'm just afraid they won't, but it doesn't feel like they will.
Yeah, and I just hope he sticks to the "I've been overlooked" story and not the "Oh, I lost the match, but I'm gonna try real hard."
Well, see, that's the way I thought it was going. Like, he goes to Shane and Daniel Bryan, and they're like, "You don't have to do this. You know, you don't. You have nothing to win." And he's like, "Oh, you know what? Screw you guys.
Yeah.
You don't believe in me either." And I thought it was leading to that.
I thought he was going to lose.
And it didn't. I thought it would have made sense for Bray to win because, like I had said last week, that's who I thought should have won last week in the first place, because I thought Dean and Bray make sense to be the first title feud on SmackDown.
I thought going into the match that we were somehow going to see like a triple threat version of that play out, but
I thought about that. And I was like, we got one last one, so I don't think they would do 2 world title triple threats back to back months. But like I said before, this is the perfect way. I don't want this to be the I'm gonna try real hard. I want Ziggler to show that he deserves to be there, and not be the I tried real hard. I don't want him calling his mom after the world title match saying, "Mom, I lost, but I tried hard."
Yeah, Mom. Yep, lost again.
Yeah. I don't want that. I want this to be the story that Dolph's showing that he deserves to be there.
He even said in his promo, he's been told he's not good enough, been told he's too good.
And now he says he is that damn good.
Yeah, and I don't know if what Dean said is going to play out, talking about, you care about all the wrong things, you care about showing off, you care about these people, you care about what people think about you. I wonder if that's going to play into how Dolph reacts too.
So to that point, one of my observations from Roadblock was how Dean is known as the crazy guy, I'll do anything, no care for his own health or well-being, and that was what ultimately made him lose the match to Triple H. So he just ran back into the ring, not defending himself, and he took a pedigree and lost. So do you think then that they may tell that story with Ziggler of, this is what you do, this is your Achilles heel, and then we're going to see his Achilles heel cost him the championship?
Well, it's still 2 weeks to build, because even though they had that one promo, we haven't really had any other interaction between the two, so you don't really know how the story's going to go. We know Ambrose said Ziggler's not on his level, but Ziggler went out and beat Bray Wyatt and proved that he deserves to be in the world title scene. And then after that, I'm sure we'll probably get a tag match next week with Ziggler and Ambrose against Roman and against Harper and Wyatt.
Well, last thing before Rowan.
Rowan and
Yeah, that was the last thing before we move on to the next thing. We only got to take about a minute on this. So Rowan comes out to attack Ziggler afterwards. Bray hits him with the Sister Abigail. So Rowan and Bray clearly still together.
Mm-hmm.
You think there's any chance Bray recruits somebody else to have a third member, or do you think they're just waiting for Luke Harper to come back?
I think they're just waiting for Luke Harper. I wouldn't mind seeing him recruit another member to give us some more, some new life to it. But I think ultimately they're waiting for Luke.
I hope it's Luke Harper. I need them I need Harper and Rowan against American Alpha now.
That'd be awesome.
Yeah,
well, it'd be more about American Alpha versus Luke Harper.
Yeah,
I need that now.
Yeah. AJ and Cena had another interaction last night. AJ wanted to address Cena and C Nation to tell him everything he didn't like about him, ask him why is he still here, and Cena cut a very Cena-esque promo talking about how much he loves this place.
We've
this
heard
place
this.
is his life.
Yada yada. Hit the playback button.
Yeah. Won the crowd over, obviously, because he put the kids over, he put the parents over, he put over all of his outside interests. I did like, though, that he said all these things I do, the Tonight Show, Jimmy Kimmel, whatever all, he said, I love when people ask me, oh, now you made it mainstream, John, when are you going to quit WWE? And I love to look them in the eye and tell them never. This is what I love to do. That was the one part of the promo I really, really did like.
Did you get guilty pimples?
A little bit, because it's like that, because I believe it. I think it's true. I think he shows
true.
that. And
I
love, my favorite part of the whole promo, though, was Cena goes on and on and on, whipping the crowd into a frenzy, this feel-good promo, and then AJ just, I knew that's what you were going to say. That's his response. I knew that's what you were going to say, John, just completely diminishes the whole thing.
He barely said it, because he says the same thing all the time. It's nothing new. He says it so many times. It's the same exact promo. He did it on The Rock, he did it on Bryan, he does it to everybody.
Yeah, but I loved AJ's mannerisms as a heel are so great.
The golf clap?
The golf clap was great. his response to that whole... I mean, it was like a 7-minute promo. I knew you were going to say that.
It's kind of way just to...
Like, I teed it up for you to say that. You did exactly... See, I know you, John.
Exactly what was going to happen.
And so even something about the way he calls him John, I think, is great.
John.
No, I thought it was a great promo by both guys.
I love the way he ended it, too.
Yeah, that after SummerSlam, when I beat you, you're going to have to come out here and say that I'm better than you. If you don't, you're a liar, and if you do, you're a loser.
Either way, I win.
Either way, I win, and he walks out. And then he said, I'm in your head. So we know Bray Wyatt was once in John Cena's head. It didn't do Bray Wyatt a whole lot of good. I really hope it does AJ Styles some good, because I feel like...
The soccer mom?
Yeah, I feel like he needs to win.
Well, we invented that chant in D.C.
Soccer mom, you're right.
We invented that.
Okay. What are you, Kevin Owens?
I don't know. Is there any way AJ Styles wins at SummerSlam?
He's winning. He has to win. He has to win.
I think he has to win, too.
Because Cena's not going to be there all the time. Because I don't know if you saw, American Grit got picked up for season 2.
Yeah, I did.
So Cena's not always going to be there.
AJ needs it a lot more, and I don't see why.
But since when has that mattered?
Yeah, I know.
It needs to
That's
matter.
The problem.
New era. You put in Finn Balor over. You put in Finn Balor, making him important. You're rejuvenating Dolph Ziggler. You bring in all this new talent from NXT. This is the perfect time to put somebody over. Yeah. We say this every time with Cena. This is the one time it has to happen. Cena, if he loses the feud, it will not hurt him at all.
Yeah.
He's still John Cena.
Well, that's
his appearances on Good Day.
That's how I feel. That's how I felt about Dean Ambrose and Brock Lesnar at WrestleMania. Dean Ambrose was going to be there on Monday, and Brock Lesnar wasn't going to be back till SummerSlam. But it didn't work out that way. I hope it works out that way, but I don't know if I've just been so conditioned, but I think that, or indoctrinated by WWE, that John Cena is always going to win. I just feel like he is, but in this case...
you don't have a lot of hair. You haven't conditioned it a long
But
I conditioned the beard.
Oh, okay. Do you? I can tell. It looks fuzzy.
By the way, I gotta add to AJ just destroying the babies. And
these dumb kids or whatever he said.
And the other thing I popped for was we said everybody's delusional. All these people are delusional, especially people in Nashville, Tennessee.
Yeah, I know,
because that's where TNA is from.
He said it's the weakest city I've ever been to, and I know. Yeah. I thought that was awesome.
Yeah, I did too. That's what TNA headquarters is.
Yeah.
I can hear in my head as Dixie's calling him saying, AJ, Sugar, were you talking about the company again? Could you not do that, please? Thank you.
Yeah, I'm sure Dixie didn't love it, but I did.
I loved it.
As I'm
too.
sure both of you did. Yeah, I'm glad you brought that up, because I did not have that written down, but that was awesome.
That was in all caps in my notes.
Yeah.
I popped some all caps.
The debut of American Alpha last night. I know we were all ready. Were you willing?
I was. Oh yeah, okay. I was willing.
And what were you?
I thought I was waiting for the rest of the question. I was
like, let's do that again. So American Alpha debuted last night. I know I was ready. What were you?
Willing.
And how about you? Pretty straightforward debut. They came out. They got a good cheer. They smashed the Vaudevillains, who looks like maybe Gotch is taking his medicine a little bit too for the backstage fight. I know you said you didn't watch Talking Smack after the show last night. I'm assuming you didn't either.
No, I did not.
I thought they were really good when they got on there, because Daniel Bryan was so excited to have them there. I think he even did like a Hercules clap about them. But they asked them, do you think you can be the best tag team on SmackDown? And they said, when Daniel Bryan drafted us, he said, I'm drafting the best tag team from NXT. But we're going to be the best tag team on the planet. And then Renee Young asked them, can you be, okay, so you think you're the best tag team, can you be as entertaining as the New Day? And Gable said, well, entertaining means different things to different people. So they do think that they will be entertaining, as they will be.
The ring work
I can't wait for them to start getting some promos and get a chance to talk and show people their humor. But I know probably nobody's happier to see them on the main roster than you. I mean, I know I'm thrilled to see them on there.
Oh, that was great.
So sick, Eric. I know you're hating this right now.
Well, he does always like to say that you and I think we are American Alpha. I wouldn't mind being American Alpha.
Exactly.
Two good guys to be.
Yeah.
This actually leads me into the other question. So this is from Rusty Agostino, not the false start we had last time. But
5-yard penalty?
yeah, he says that Daniel Bryan is saying they slowly want to introduce a new women's and tag title onto the SmackDown brand. Maybe as soon as after SummerSlam. How do you guys feel about adding more titles, and who is going to be the superstars getting the pushes as the inaugural champions? So, Joe, I'll start with you.
Okay.
How do you feel about them adding a women's and a tag team champion to SmackDown?
I think they need to if they're going to have two separate brands, two separate rosters. You need a reason to cheer on the tag division. You need a reason to get behind women's matches if they actually have women's matches.
Yeah.
So we had two
sort of to steal a quote from Aaron. We'll get to that.
But yeah, I would love it. I think it needs to be done.
Yeah. Okay. And who do you think will be the first tag team champion, and who do you think will be the first women's champion?
Tag team champion, probably American Alpha, and women's champion. It's tough. Maybe Nia.
Nia's on Raw.
I mean, Becky.
Okay. How about you? First, how do you feel about them adding the championship?
Well, they need championships because if they don't have championships, there's no reason for tag teams or women's wrestling on SmackDown at all. So I think one of those titles will probably be one of those new champions will probably be crowned at Backlash because that's their first
brand exclusive
pay-per-view. So same thing with Raw with the Cruiserweight title. I think Clash of Champions, that's where you get the Cruiserweight champion. They keep saying coming soon.
Yeah.
With that. But the first champions, I think, it'll probably be called a Universal Women's title, probably. More likely. The first champion for SmackDown, I'll probably say Becky Lynch, no doubt. But for the tag titles, I'm going to disagree with Joey. I'm going to go with the team they've been booking to look very strong lately is Breezango. Because American Alpha, I think that they're a straight babyface, and them chasing to the titles will
well, how great was their chase to the titles just on NXT?
Yeah, so I think that Breezango, because they've been building them up slowly, and I think they'll get the first hit the titles.
Interesting. So yeah, I agree with both of you. I was not a big proponent, as you know, of all the titles on both shows, but being that no title is going back and forth, you can't have a show like what reason is there to have these divisions if there's nothing you're fighting for? Just matches, just to have matches is not entertaining. Yeah, I guess. See, I think you swayed me a little bit with your Breezango argument. So I think I am going to say Breezango. I think that's actually a good way to go, and then American Alpha gets to chase them.
I mean, would they have won last week if Golden Truth wasn't playing Pokemon Go?
Probably not, but well, yeah, we didn't mention that. Our Truth is just hooked on Pokemon Go. First women's champion. I'm going to go out on a limb. And I'm going to say they give it to the biggest heel in their company, Eva Marie.
They would get so much heat.
She has knee issues.
She does. How great would that be, though, if they gave it to her?
I thought, what if they put the NXT women's title on her?
So
Imagine they did that.
You could have Natalia win it, too.
They would have destroyed
But just think how over, as a babyface, the woman would be who beats Eva Marie for the women's championship.
I could actually see that.
Yeah,
huge.
So those are my two predictions.
That'd be a big heel.
Yeah. We had the Intercontinental #1 contender triple threat match. We had Kalisto, Baron Corbin, and the Count of Monte Fisto, Apollo Creed, also known as Apollo Crews. Apollo Crews wins. He pinned Baron Corbin, right?
No, Kalisto.
Okay, good.
They protected Baron Corbin.
Good, because I honestly did not remember.
Then Corbin came in and sort of cleaned house a little bit.
Okay, well that's good. Because I had it Corbin pinned with 2 question marks, because I really couldn't remember who got pinned.
I need Miz excellent commentary. I need him to replace Otunga.
I would like that very much. I thought
see a lot more Maurice. Which is never a bad thing.
I thought the match was fine, and I like Apollo being the one to win the match.
Yeah, I thought it was a good match. I think it could have used a little more time. It was a pretty good match.
Is Smiley a gimmick?
I guess it's becoming one.
Well,
Donovan McNabb had that gimmick with the Eagles for how long?
At the interception.
I don't know if Apollo's going to win or not, but I think he's a good guy to throw in there. I did like the aftermatch, the Apollo coming in to save Kalisto, Miz taking out Apollo Creed, and I liked Miz taking the end of Days.
I did too.
Great. Because you keep Corbin.
He wasn't taking the pin. I already knew that. That's like Kalisto. Did he do his lucha stuff?
I'm gonna bring a lucha thing. Woo! Like, a lucha thing. I guess he did. I guess the lucha thing is losing.
I don't think Cruz is ready for a title yet.
This is my point with that.
Do you think he needs the title to get himself over?
That too, but
he needs some mic work.
I don't know if he'll win.
Personality.
But no, that's the thing. The Miz is there to give him personality, because the Miz is always excellent in getting personality.
Like he did with Cesaro?
He did with Cesaro. He introduced AJ Styles. They always put Miz with these guys, introduce them, and put them over. So the Miz is the person you can get to have people care about Apollo Crews and possibly find out more about him. Because we all know his dad moved them to the States from was it military? Or what was the story about Apollo Crews?
I don't really know. He never moved the needle enough for me to really retain it.
Yeah, well, they're telling a story about his family. They're telling a story about his family, and I'm sure Miz can get more out of him than what we've got.
He can, so I'd like to see maybe a feud a little more. I mean,
it's the first week. They got 2 weeks. They got 2 weeks.
Yeah, well, he came out of the gates hot. The complete opposite of Bray Wyatt. He won the Battle Royal, and then he won this Intercontinental #1 contendership.
I'm terrified about what the match will be, because with Apollo Crews with less workers, the matches really haven't been that good.
Wait, well, what matches haven't been good? The Intercontinental matches?
No, Apollo Crews, when he's with less better workers than him, the matches haven't been good. Because, like, I remember his match with Baron Corbin at TakeOver London. That wasn't that good.
Yeah, but Miz is a pretty solid worker.
He is. He's been
getting better.
No, this is his best year. This is his best year
carrying the title.
Yeah, this is his best year of wrestling. I'm just hoping the match is good, because I know Apollo Crews is awesome, but I know sometimes he can't really seem to carry a guy.
If only he had the charisma of Carl Weathers, who played Apollo Creed. It would be nice. So the women on SmackDown, the women on SmackDown Xavier Woods played. He was what was he? Austin Creed?
Consequences.
Creed. Consequences Creed, wearing the red, white, and blue trunks and everything. He wore the hat, right?
I don't remember.
I think he wore the tall hat, the tall Apollo Creed. We don't need to get into Apollo Creed anymore. Although I will
digress a bit.
Yeah, I just thought of this, and it's one of my favorite jokes from the hit NBC show The Office, when Michael Scott is trying to prove to everyone how racially sensitive he is. And he tells people, you name me one white person you trust, and I'll tell you a black person I trust more. And somebody says the Pope, and he says he says Martin Luther King, and then somebody says my dad, and the second go-to black guy name he comes to, Apollo Creed, who isn't even a real guy. But I trust Apollo Creed as much as Pam trusts her dad. Okay, enough of that. The women. There were no women's matches. There were almost two.
Technically no women's matches.
Almost two.
They almost put two.
Eva came out her extravagant entrance.
Extremely extravagant.
I was going to add about that.
There's a lot.
In her career highlight thing, it said won the 2013 Diva Search. It wasn't a 2013 Diva Search.
So they made it up. I kind of like that even more, though.
Yeah,
they're just making up stuff that she did. She feigns a knee or quad injury, whatever it was, and can't finish the match.
So good.
I think, more heat on her.
And I loved when she made Greg Hamilton take her jacket off for her.
Oh,
the ring announcer of all people.
And I love the way Becky looked at him when she did it. Then we had Natty and Carmella kind of called each other out in the backstage segment. I like that they're doing that with the set backstage that people are going to during the show.
Just kind of old school.
It does. I also I wanted to mention this at the top, but I like the graphics they're doing. Like you said, or is it like sports now?
Yeah.
I like the graphics they're putting up of the person's height and weight. Mm-hmm. Just gives it a different look from Raw. Any of those little details I've enjoyed about SmackDown so far. But Natty, as she has been doing lately, attacks Carmella. So another match that didn't happen.
Almost two.
Yeah. So there were almost two women's matches, but still 4 women made their way onto SmackDown.
Barely.
Yeah.
But I gotta yell.
Okay.
Because
so this is that portion of the show?
You already so-called have the, I don't want to say worst, but the lower end of women's talent on a roster. Eva Marie, excellent heel. I don't know who caught it worse, her or Paul George. But Carmella, who cut an excellent promo with Natty. By the way, looking good. By the way, and you're the perfect way to introduce her. You gotta have her get a jump by Natty. Like you could have had a match. Even if it was ending the qualification, you could have still had a match. So basically, you just wasted 4 women in a matter of 5 minutes of time.
Yeah, that ultimately did nothing. The one thing it did do is it did kind of push 2 stories forward, as Natty being more and more of a heel, and Eva Marie just getting under people's skin more and more.
So next week, I already know. I'm calling it now.
A tag?
No, we're gonna get Naomi versus Alexa Bliss probably. Hopefully that match starts.
I was gonna say, will it happen?
Yeah, will it actually go through?
Hopefully that match starts, and then at SummerSlam, Teddy, come on, Teddy.
Uncle Teddy.
A 6-woman tag team pre-show match.
I would love if that happened. I would love for you to be right about that. Then we'll know they're watching the show. Because there's no way that
They keep stealing stuff from us anyway.
Yeah, you're right.
We gotta start getting credit.
Regularly.
Alo got the book.
Heavy is the head that holds the book, or whatever the Dusty Rhodes quote was.
What book is this?
The booking.
Oh.
So, SmackDown Week 2. I told you last week I didn't like SmackDown anywhere near as much as Raw last week. I thought SmackDown was way better this week than it was the previous week.
Really?
It definitely made a step up for me, too.
Really?
Yeah.
I didn't like it as much as last week.
Other than the half women's matches, I enjoyed it.
It was the first time I actually enjoyed watching Dolph Ziggler for a full show. I thought he did great work. I thought Dean Ambrose did great work on commentary as always. I liked him just belittling Ziggler at every turn. I liked Apollo Crews getting
the AJ promo.
Yeah, that was awesome. The AJ Cena promo.
You got American Alpha debuting.
Yeah, was it a perfect show? No, but I thought it was better than the first SmackDown Live. It was still not as good as Raw, but I thought it was better than... And I think the 2 have been better than your typical Thursday night taped SmackDown. So.
If I got a women's match, maybe I'll feel different. Because, like I said, that Carmella Natty promo was excellent. Carmella shined. She didn't do... She was in her full Staten Island accent. So, she got her point across clearly and stood her right up to Natty.
Yeah, I liked that they did give her the chance to give that promo, and I liked the whole thing with Eva, because I think it's just perfect.
That was so good.
The more you do stuff like that with her to just needle the fans, the better. And I thought it was perfect. So that's why I like SmackDown a little better. Raw still has the edge.
How long do you think Eva's out?
I don't know. Does she show up next week and do the same thing? Or does she show up with a knee brace on her?
Like an obnoxious knee brace.
I hope
or
so.
on crutches or in a wheelchair
I
or
really
something.
I really hope
Should be a wheelchair. The ring announcer pushing her around.
Greg Hamilton pushing her in the wheelchair. Yeah. That would be great. So that's it for Raw and SmackDown. Anything else anybody wanted to add about either show?
I'm good.
All right. Well, NXT briefly. They're really building, finally, the Samoa Joe Shinsuke Nakamura feud that's going to take place at TakeOver Brooklyn. Interestingly enough, the split-up Blake and Murphy were key players on last week's NXT.
Why are they on television?
I don't know. They were hyping Blake as a new man. Clearly he wasn't. Got smoked by Nakamura.
You know about,
they haven't won a match in a year.
Yeah. I liked Regal making the announcement that, Shinsuke is number 1 contender or whatever, and Samoa Joe, while he has not done a whole lot recently, loved his promo.
Oh yeah,
I did too.
I loved how he was pissed that he did this without his approval.
Legitimately pissed. You didn't come to me about it. You didn't talk to me about it. The hoops basically I had to jump through to get a title shot here. He didn't have to do the same thing.
He said, "Why don't we go back there, talk it out, and I'll give you someone I approve of."
Right.
And he has a point. Joe has a legitimate point, like you said.
Which is great. I love when a heel has a point, because it's like you want to root against them, but it makes you even more mad when they're right. When you almost can't argue with them. And one of my favorite little moments on NXT, maybe of the year, is when, Regal threatened, you'll forfeit your title. And he said, fine, you want the match, you got it. But Shinsuke Nakamura may not make it to Brooklyn. And his music hits, And when he came out and did the like the telescope, like he was looking at him in the ring, I thought that was incredible. Everybody always talks about Nakamura oozing with charisma and all this stuff. I thought that, like, that 1 second right there was incredible. And
you also had the kisses earlier in the night.
yeah.
That was entertaining, yeah.
Yeah, he's awesome. Joe is awesome. That's going to be an incredible match. That's going to be probably a pretty violent match, I would assume. But I'm really looking forward to that.
Oh, yeah.
So, like you said, you appreciated Joe coming out and saying, this guy didn't have to do what I did. And, what did he say? I decimated your precious champion, Finn Balor. I'm going to do the same thing to Shinsuke Nakamura. And I love the threat of him not making it because we all know that wouldn't be the first time that happened. Bayley is, I guess, I don't think they officially announced it, but they said, Regal said, well, I'll talk to Asuka. You'll get your rematch. We'll do a contract signing.
Pretty much.
It happened.
Yeah. Oh, did it? Okay. No Way Jose showed a whole new attitude, a whole new violent attitude this week.
Made me feel a little more about him. Maybe swing the lead a little bit. Get a little attitude talking about Aries.
Yeah, he got on the microphone. What did you think of No Way Jose this week?
I like No Way Jose.
Okay, so you didn't jump off that bandwagon.
Oh, no.
Yeah, Buddy Murphy.
Oh.
He's had a rough go of it lately and got even rougher against the debuting Kota Ibushi.
Is a year late?
It was pretty good.
Is a year lately?
Well,
it was a pretty good match though. Versus Murphy.
It actually was a good match. It was a good
match.
Back and forth. I thought it was a good match. Did you enjoy the match at least?
I don't enjoy anything Murphy.
You don't enjoy anything Murphy does.
No, he's better than Blake. I'll tell you that.
Yeah, he was definitely a lot better in the ring.
He is better than Blake, without a doubt.
I respect his game because he was Alexa Bliss.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I guess you got to give him credit for that. And also, next week, we have, TM61 had another match.
They're awesome.
They are great. I'm very curious when they're going to let them start being characters, or maybe they're just trying to figure out characters for them.
Probably.
Although I think NXT is almost getting into this thing where, like, being a wrestler is your character, which is probably not good.
It's not good.
But, I see, that's the danger of them. They know they have the audience they're appealing to, which is the core of the internet wrestling community. That's what they want, is wrestling. And I feel like I don't want to say NXT is suffering because the match quality is great, the action is really good, but I feel like they're not generating. If you go back to a year and a half ago, the characters they had in NXT, the Four Horsewomen, you had Sami Zayn, Neville, you had all these people who were becoming stars in NXT, and I feel like outside of the big names they've signed in, it's not going that way anymore.
That's why they miss Dusty.
Is that where you think it has come from? Yeah,
because they all talk about how Dusty would pinpoint the littlest thing and tell you just to elevate it, and that would be your character. Even Bailey talked about it on Jericho's podcast. Mm-hmm. Sasha said it. Charlotte said it.
Yeah, she said he found something in everyone.
Yeah,
you'd go out and give your promo, and he'd say, "Okay, this is what you need to talk about." And she'd say, "No, my promo is about this." Okay, well now it's about this, and work on that.
Yeah, and people like Apollo Crews, he met with him probably not too long, but if Dusty was still around, these guys they might have better character, more of a character than they do now. For example, I don't know if you're going to talk about Billie Kay. I don't know what Billie Kay is.
Yeah, she doesn't have a character. She just wears velour.
Yeah. Well, they kind of
or velvet. She may be ensconced in velvet.
What is that, velvet?
Ensconced in velvet. I like that.
What is that, velvet?
Stole it from George Costanza.
I know.
Okay, good.
Made a reference earlier.
But I think the kind of character they're going to portray her as, because I don't know if you guys paid attention to commentary, but they were talking about how she kind of got full of herself from being on SmackDown.
Yeah, and I pay attention because I like Graves. And they do tell the story for the most part. Yeah, he's awesome. I do like Billie Kay, but I do think she needs to find herself in NXT before she comes up to the main roster. So hopefully that SmackDown thing will just be something that plays into her story in NXT.
Yeah. It's clear it was because Peyton Royce, we know she's Poison Ivy. Venus Fletcher, Liv Morgan's from Jersey. Aaliyah, she hasn't really done anything really yet. But we know who most of the other women are, and we're going to Ember Moon at TakeOver, so I'm excited to see that. You showed me before we started the show some of her highlights. She's awesome.
Yeah, she's great.
I love that finisher.
Yeah, it's a great finisher. We also have Bobby Roode debuting next week. Yeah.
Better stunner than Cena.
Huh?
Better stunner than Cena.
Oh yeah, definitely is. Bobby Roode next week and the return of Hideo Itami. Well, I shouldn't say next week. It's actually already happened before we started recording the show. Yeah, so I assume we'll probably get a few more Ember Moon vignettes. Lee, you said you didn't see the vignette. You fast forwarded through it.
Yeah.
I'm looking forward to Bobby Roode.
Me too.
But I'm glad that I'm not alone, because I thought maybe I was just crazy or whatever about the whole idea that they're not creating characters the way they were.
Oh no, it's clear.
Are you worried about that?
No, it's something they could fix. But,
not yet.
Well, see, not yet because
they have so much talent there right now. I mean, with Samoa Joe and Austin Aries, who cuts great promos. You got Rude, who you're going to see a lot more of too. I mean, it could eventually down the road if they don't start developing talent.
Yeah, I'm more worried about the homegrown talent. Now, I'm not the indie guys. They'll be fine. The guys from TNA and GPW and Ring of Honor, they'll be fine. I'm worried about the homegrown talent at the Performance Center, about their characters and within development. That's what I'm more worried about.
Yeah, it's just something I've noticed, and I was like, it doesn't quite. NXT doesn't quite feel the same when I watch it anymore. I finally came to that conclusion. It's like they're just not creating the way they were before. Anything else from NXT? Anybody wants to add?
I'm good.
Nothing.
Wasn't much.
So while round 4 has already happened by the time you're listening to this, we're just getting around to round 3. I guess that's the one downside of having to move to Wednesday nights because of SmackDown Live, is that we're a full week behind on this stuff. But the third part of round 1 of the Cruiserweight Classic, a lot of hype around Zack Sabre Jr. He faced off against Tyson Dukes.
Yeah, I think it's Dukes.
This may be a very unpopular opinion, but Zack Sabre Jr. didn't do anything for me.
Really?
I was like,
Well, they put over his technical background.
They did.
Technical.
But
Daniel Bryan was marking the hell out the whole match.
He was.
Who was?
Daniel Bryan.
Yeah, who, another phenomenal week on commentary. Those two are great on commentary.
They need to do every show.
So yeah, my thing with Zack Sabre Jr. is, and it may just be partially, we've talked about expectations before. Sometimes when you have super high expectations, you're not going to enjoy something as much. And like WrestleMania 2 years ago, we had super low expectations because of the tug of war that led into it. And then everybody left on a high because of Seth Rollins cashing in. I had super high expectations for Zack Sabre Jr. Like I said, I'm not going to pretend I ever saw 1 second of Zack Sabre Jr. before I watched this Cruiserweight Classic match. But it was literally the whole thing of escapability or escapology, whatever it is. If I was watching like a real jiu-jitsu match or an MMA fight, I would have been super impressed. But to me, it's like, I guess this goes back to Vince Russo, like the whole thing of like, I don't believe it's a real fight. I don't need to think it's a real fight. I'm never going to think that. So the whole thing of him escaping these holds is like, okay, like do something else besides that. And that kind of was all it was.
I think it'll build. I think the match. Well, this is only the first match. I think you'll get different kind of matches out of him.
Mm-hmm.
But I think they'll just put over his technical aspect because even Daniel Bryan was marking out the whole match.
Yeah, he was, and I was just like, it's okay.
Yeah, a couple haters.
Yeah, like I'm not writing Zack Sabre Jr. off because I've heard a lot of great things about him. So I'm curious to see what he does in the future. But I know as far as my first impression, I was not that impressed. I don't know if you felt the same way. I don't know if you liked him or not.
I didn't hate him, but it didn't blow me away. I mean, I'm going in with open eyes. Some of these guys I haven't seen, so I'm trying to take it all in. I'm not just throwing my hat into one match. So
I'll send you some homework. Him versus Kurt Angle. I'll send you some
homework.
I mean, I look forward to it, and I hope that I'm proven wrong because I would like to like the guy, especially because I think he's probably going to be there at least till the final. So,
and most likely in the Cruiserweight division.
Yes, yeah. Speaking on that, because the vignettes for the Cruiserweight division are the CWC highlights. So I'm wondering if some of those guys aren't even going to be in NXT and go right to WWE.
I'm thinking that's what's going to happen.
Me too.
That's going to just be.
That would be cool if they did that, because now you've just introduced all these guys to your hardcore fans, and then you get to throw them right out there. And great for those guys, obviously, because they're going to make a lot more money being WWE cruiserweights than they were going to wherever they were before.
Floating.
Yeah.
But one thing before you move on, I kind of think that would be a way of pigeonholing them. Because it's like, okay, you're not going to go to NXT. You're going to go right to the Cruiserweight division. And that's where you probably just stay, in the Cruiserweight division. And I don't like that when it comes to
So they're going to fall into the Eric Bischoff trap.
Yeah.
It doesn't necessarily have to be the case, though. If there's 1 or 2 cruiserweights that kind of, like, stand out, they can easily make a move up.
Yeah, I know, but the thing is, like, the cruiserweight title, nobody really talked. You just went out there and just did flips back then. I don't want it to be that way. I want guys to have characters, and I want the belt to mean something, not just go out there and put on a good wrestling match. I want it to mean something. I want characters behind these people. And that's the problem with having
you want storylines.
Yeah, character development.
Bro.
I feel
the vignettes, bro.
I'm hoping that's what we get. I mean, I guess it depends how much time they devote to the cruiserweight.
That too.
Well, yeah, that's my whole thing. Is like you have a 3-hour show. You should not be. There should not be anything you don't have enough time to do with all that time.
And you just split the rosters in half.
And that's been one of my main complaints with WWE is you have all this time on Monday, yet you somehow manage to not have enough time for almost anything. Like everything gets skimped. It's like you can't do that. You spend so much time replaying stuff 15 times. We see the opening segment like 12 times throughout the course of Raw.
Let's recap what we just watched 10 seconds ago.
Yeah, they come back from a commercial and they show us.
At least we see it because for months we didn't see it. We only saw the world title once a night.
Yeah. So, I mean, I'm with you. I hope the Cruiserweight division is given the time to showcase these guys and not like it was used in WCW where it's just matches.
Yeah.
And it needs to be more.
You're there. You're not going nowhere.
Drew Gulak from Philadelphia against Harv Sira, the, what is he?
Bollywood boys.
One of the Bollywood boys, yes. The Philadelphia guy, represented for the hometown. He got the win. I thought that was a good match. I was impressed with him. I like the Dragon Sleeper. And that's probably my favorite thing about Daniel Bryan is I guess because he has a history of grappling. There were things that the crowd maybe didn't pick up on that you're watching that he
mentions it.
So the first day I trained jiu-jitsu, stayed after class to kind of like ask some questions and stuff like that. And the guy was talking about like when you get somebody in back control and you have the leg scissors around their waist, you're not supposed to cross your you're not supposed to cross your feet between their legs because I can throw my legs up over your feet, and then I have you in a submission for your ankles. Had I not been taught that, 2 months ago, I would have never thought of it. But apparently it's like a legit submission that you could do, and the crowd didn't even know. Like, Gulak had to like get over to the ropes, and they thought he was putting the other guy in the submission. So Daniel Bryan adds so much to the commentary with his expertise. I thought both guys were good. I thought the right guy won. It is ridiculous to me that some of these guys weigh like 140 pounds.
I know.
Like that is not even cruiserweight. That's like flyweight.
It's like my weight.
Yeah. What do you weigh these days? Are you in the 140s?
Yeah, I'm like 140.
The Joey weight division.
We should have got you in there.
I could have.
Should have got the wild one in there.
Could have done some wild things, some wild crazy things.
Next year. Maybe that'll be another movement we could start. Hashtag Mr. Sexy Punakana. CWC till 2017.
AKA Gary Oldman.
Yeah, I think that's what we're going to have to do. We're going to have to start. We have a year.
Start a
to
movement?
we have a year to get you on the map.
Coming, baby. I'm coming for you. See it.
Anthony Bennett against Tony Nese, who I actually saw live at the House of Hardcore show. Tony Nese is awesome.
He was awesome. He was the star of the night.
I thought so too. I thought he blew everybody away.
He did.
He's big. He only weighs 196. He's only 5'9", but the dude is.
He's jacked.
Yeah, he's chiseled. I didn't remember him being that built when I saw him before. I was like surprised when I saw him. But he's strong. He's super athletic. That dude's incredible.
He is awesome.
That was my favorite match of the night. The 450 splash was great.
Sounds like you marked out a little bit.
I did. And that was a battle of New York and New Jersey. Tony Nese from, I think it was Staten Island. So maybe he knows Carmella. And Anthony Bennett from New Jersey. Yeah, I definitely marked out for that.
I marked out too because when y'all went to House of Hardcore, you mentioned I would have loved the guy. I was like, whoa, this guy's awesome.
Yeah, that was like one of the first things. I think I might have mentioned it on the show.
Yeah,
like you would have loved this dude.
Yeah, he was awesome.
Yeah, he was great, and I look forward to. I think even who was it, Graves or Daniel Bryan? Somebody said like I think this guy's gonna make like a long run.
I hope he makes
in the tournament.
The WB Cruiserweight division.
I hope so
I think
too.
it was Daniel Bryan.
Was it? Okay. Yeah, he's awesome. And
I thought that was Sandow at first.
with the big beard.
Yeah, he resembles Sandow.
Yeah, I didn't remember him having that beard either. There were times he almost looked a little bit like the latest incarnation of Alex Riley. I think when I saw him like from the side or when his back was to the camera, I think he looked a little bit like Alex Riley to me. Clearly not as big because he's only 5'9", but the main event of the evening, I kind of like that they're calling the main events, like especially because you don't know who really any of these guys are. I thought this was a great match too. The Brian Kendrick against, what was his name, Raul Mendoza. I loved the physicality and the violence in this match.
I did too.
Because I don't think there's been another match that's had that he was bleeding from his mouth. I loved, he had braces. I loved Kendrick opening his mouth, putting his teeth on the ropes, and then kicking the ropes up into his mouth. I thought that was a really smart thing to do. He had blood. I don't know if it was real blood or not. Probably was. And I love that Kendrick ended up having to kind of cheat to win. And I love that the announce team actually put it over.
Yeah,
you know,
learn from Shawn Michaels.
Sold on it.
Yeah. Yeah, they're putting that over that they both trained at the HBK school. I don't know how far Brian Kendrick is going to go, the famed trainer of Eva Marie.
You want to be recognized for that?
Well, I'm going to recognize him for that. The first SmackDown Women's Champion.
Oh, jeez.
Why wouldn't he want to be recognized for that?
Stop with that.
Yeah, I really liked that match. I thought it was a good night overall. I look forward to seeing Zack Sabre again. I don't want to be the guy who rains on the parade, so I'm looking forward to seeing him again. So this week, well, tonight is what the last round, the last part of round one, correct?
Yep.
And I don't know how it's going to break down from there. I don't know. Do you have any takeaways from the Cruiserweight Classic?
Been very highly entertaining to watch so far. I mean, like I said, when we get to the Cruiserweight division into the Raw lifestyle, I'd like to see some storylines build, some character development, some things like that. But what I'm watching now, the wrestling, been great.
Yeah, it's awesome. How about you?
Tony Nese, sign him now.
He should be signed yesterday.
Yes.
Do we have any questions?
Yes, we do. We have a few from one person. This is from Donovan, the Lowdown Lloyd, no relation.
So it was Professor Xavier. Last week had his fingerprints all over the show. This week it's Donovan.
Yes, he is. All right. Well, he wants to start off his questions by, I still hate Byron Saxton.
Okay.
He should appreciate him.
Yeah. Now.
After hearing David Otunga.
I know.
The Harvard lawyer.
All right. Well, he says a few things. Aren't they just making Darren Young the worst?
Yeah.
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 Give Titus O'Neil a little relevance, though. A nice heel push.
Yeah.
Am I the only one who wants Paul Heyman to do my voicemail?
No, I would let him do it.
I love it too. He would just put me over, and I'll be like Brock Lesnar, just like.
Only if he calls me Mr. Sexy.
You
want him to do it in the Brock Lesnar voice? Okay.
They might think they had the wrong number. And he said he wants to know how. He says, I felt Raw dragged until the Randy Brock segment. How about you guys?
Yeah, it definitely didn't hold me like it did 2 weeks ago. Like I was. It had me completely locked in the entire 3 hours last week. This past week, I was kind of drifting a little bit. So yeah, I would agree with that. How about you?
I didn't really notice a drag. I wasn't really looking for it though. I was kind of doing a little homework plus watching Raw, so maybe I was distracted. But I didn't feel like a drag.
So not necessarily WWE's fault. That was more you had other stuff going on.
Well, I was doing wrestling homework, so it's show related.
Right. Okay.
Always a corporate man.
That's fair enough. How about you? Did you feel the same way? Did you not?
I think it dragged a little bit, especially within the second and third hour. Between the second hour, I think that's when it started to drag a bit because it was a bunch of filler stuff.
Yeah.
The first hour flew by.
Yeah, it did.
The last hour was fine, but the second hour, that's where it started a little drag a little bit for me. But the last week was perfect.
Is that any more questions? Was that it?
That's it.
All right, so I guess that is our show for tonight. Before we get out of here, we'll just mention one more time. You can find us on iTunes, Podbean, Stitcher, Facebook, YouTube. 5-star reviews, subscribe, follow. Anyone who wants to do an episode of Matt Madness Unsanctioned where we put you over, reach out to us on Facebook. You could reach me on my email, pasc1979@gmail.com. Anything anybody wants to add before we get out of here?
Yeah,
C-Camp for the Cruiserweight Classic.
Yeah, we're going to start that hashtag.
Yes, we are. One more thing. The fan voting for the September episode of Throwback Madness is still underway. It's on the Facebook page and on Instagram. So get your picks in. Remember, Breakdown 98. Do not pick that. Somebody already put it in, and I'm going to yell at them. So get those picks down. Matt.Madness_podcast on Instagram and Matt Madness on Facebook.
And last thing I'll say, we will be finally doing the Matt Madness Tag Team Classic Tournament next week.
Yes.
So keep an eye out for that bracket. Should be posted on the Facebook page in the next couple days. For Mr. Wednesday Night Live, Alo, Aaron Lloyd, hailing from Milan, Italy. For the 2017 Cruiserweight Classic Champion, Mr. Sexy Punakana, CK and Joe Rotterville. I am Ron Pashery. Thank you, and we will see you next week.